What is going on with WWE? Of course, right now, it is going under the radar that wrestling is going downhill. With, of course, WrestleMania 42 not being at its best, being a bit of an underwhelming, and a big statement from the fans saying that the product is not good enough. Since WrestleMania 40, a lot of fans have circulated that wrestling has gone downhill since Cody Rhodes finished the story beating Roman Reigns over 2 years ago now, back in April of 2024. We are now in May of 2026, and it is just not the same. Even when Roman Reigns is now the World Heavyweight Champion, wrestling is just not hitting the same. And maybe it's more than one royal family, sorry. But what is going on with WWE? We're going to be answering that question in this video. So if you're going to enjoy this video, it's going to be an awesome to record. Always remember to smash that subscribe button to the WWE channel. And let's get into this one. Alright then, let's cover up the first topic that I think needs to be talked about urgently. Since WrestleMania 40, a lot of rivalries have been started and not finished. We've seen this many times. Of course, we've seen recently when Gunther was on Raw, he had a thing with Dragon Lee and then it's been moved to SmackDown and the rivalry never ever got a conclusion. We've had this with other superstars in the recent past, of course. They've not had any end to a rivalry. Like John Cena only having one match with AJ Styles and having no promo to build up with him. I understand there was, of course, fixed dates for Cena, but there was nothing. It was literally just a match given to us. We didn't get any build, and it was just a match, which was a very good match, I'm not going to lie. But it just didn't feel like it was the match we could have gotten and the build-up we could have gotten, if you get what I mean. But even since WrestleMania 42, Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu, they've had a lot of promos, but it's been very repetitive every week, and the rivalries have been boring. That is another statement we're going to quickly clear on now. So Roman Reigns, of course, defeated CM Punk in the main event of WrestleMania 42 Night 2 to win the World Heavyweight Championship, his first world title in 2 years since losing to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40 and ending his 1,316-day title reign. But since the reign started, of course, it has not been great and very underwhelming for Roman Reigns' expectations. So we did start off with Jacob Fatu, which is not bad, you know, the Samoan heritage of Roman Reigns being the tribal chief and Jacob Fatu coming off a big WrestleMania win, defeating Drew McIntyre, who of course was the former WWE champion who lost his title back in the month of March. It was a big win for Fatu, a very, very good rival on SmackDown, who has now been permanently moved to Monday Night Raw with Gunther going the other way. So he had his first rivalry against Roman Reigns for the world title, which was addressed on the Raw after WrestleMania. But it just felt so lackluster building up with Jacob Fatu doing the same Tongan grip every single week. It was just the same product. Roman Reigns getting put down, the same thing said, and just a build up. And then the match, to be honest, weren't bad, but it still wasn't great. If you're looking at a World Heavyweight Championship match, which I've got to give flowers, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but CM Punk has given us some great matches in the last couple of months. Like against Bron Breakker, of course, he had, with Finn Balor, AJ Styles, of course, that was cut off in the end by Finn Balor, but you know what I mean. Punk put on some great displays, even with Reigns at WrestleMania, the best WrestleMania main event we have seen, probably since WrestleMania 40 Night 2. Probably WrestleMania 41 Night 1, could argue that, but you know what I mean. It was, for wrestling-wise, a great, great match. And the Backlash match just felt so slow and couldn't get to pace, which was a big thing that was holding it back, to be honest with you. It held that match back, and of course there was so much story in depth with the match, with the Samoan thing, the tribal chief, Jacob Fatu wanting everything for the taking, and the Usos trying to get involved. But then they built up with the Usos and the MFT trying to get involved with the feud, and then had them not even touch the match. It just didn't make any sense, and the storytelling has been absolutely awful. Of course, rumours are going around that ChatGPT is being used in the storylines now, which, if it is, WWE is going on a downhill spiral, because how are you using an AI to give you your storylines and give it you ideas? AI is still very good, and I understand it is the future. But for a company like WWE and wrestling, you know, AEW are going to look at you and laugh. So WWE needs to get their act together, and let's just quickly talk about more of the product, actually. Well, let's just cover this one up. The Miz, of course, former WrestleMania main eventer, teamed with Kit Wilson to face Danhausen, new addition, of course, earlier this year, with Minihausen. Yeah, Minihausen. Let's go over this quickly. The Miz, of course, He's now at that stage of his career where he can put over superstars like Danhausen. He's done it for the last 4 or 5 years, doing it to the likes of, I know John Morrison's a very developed superstar, but putting over John Morrison, putting over other superstars, you know, making others look very, very good. Team with Kit Wilson, he's trying to develop Kit Wilson to make him a star, of course, with Elton Prince being out right now. But even with this is when you hit a low. Like, I've been saying this for a while. Since Danhausen debuted, I love the new thing with Danhausen there. You are cursed. I like it, but give it to the summer and that's going to die. I mean, come on. We saw with Jey Uso's Yeet movement how the fans were yeeting. They were so on board with Jey Uso pushing. Give him the title. Give him the world title. He got the world title and the fans hated him. They wanted it gone immediately. He was celebrating when he lost the world title. The same fans that are pushing him to win the Royal Rumble earlier that year. And this will happen with Danhausen. I know he's on the same level superstar as main event Jey Uso, but Danhausen's got the fans with him. You are cursed. That will die. And when he says you are cursed, please shut up. That is what it will be next. I'm going to cringe at that years to come. But well, that's what it's going to be in a couple of years' time. Not a couple of years, a couple of months' time, sorry. Just, I don't understand with this with WWE. Triple H, he's a social experiment, I should say that. Of course, we know Vince McMahon did, and I'm not going to take anything away that, you know, Triple H is not the right man to be in charge, because he probably is, you know, he knows, he's got his brains up there. Look what he did with the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns story a couple of years back, and look what he did last year with the Seth Rollins, CM Punk and Roman Reigns story. But you can't just live off the past for your resume. You've got to look in the future as well. And the way we're looking in the future, he's making Roman Reigns title reign boring. And when did you last see that? I don't know. Cody Rhodes is irrelevant being the WWE champion. Gunther, no one cares about him. You know, Raw, we look at that Raw. The mid-card titles, no one really knows what's going on with the mid-card titles anymore because it's irrelevant. The Gingerbread Man, main event SmackDown before Backlash. The Gingerbread Man, who was actually Little Yachty, a rapper, being the Gingerbread Man. Main event in Friday Night SmackDown. Just a mockery, an absolute mockery of what SmackDown and WWE is. So what is going on with WWE? I don't really know. I could cover up more in this video, but I'm not going to go into full depth because it gets too long and it's just me waffling. But there's a lot to be covered with Danhausen being on the PLE card, Roman Reigns being boring. How do you make Roman Reigns boring? Jacob Fatu boring, a high elite wrestler who can perform so many good moves and be a great wrestler in his day, be boring. The Bloodline being boring. Cody Rhodes irrelevant, and so many people like me are losing interest in WWE because of this mockery of booking and how this is just the same thing repeated week over week after week. Sorry, not week over, week after week. And with ChatGPT being in storylines and a lot of rumors that are circulating around, it is an absolute catastrophe. So thank you for watching this video. I'm sorry I've been away so long. I've been thinking about content. I've been struggling to know what to do, but I've got my ideas now. But thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Goodbye, guys.